Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to episode 6 of our Great Kiwi Bake Off Bake Along series. This week was Sugar Week and oh boy, the showstopper challenge was a challenge. Create a croquembouche, half croquembouche tower, half croquembouche, based on a fairy tale in 4 hours. When I read that description, I was like, there is no way we're going to be able to do that. I think we all felt in the same boat there. But I was so proud of my Rapunzel tower. I was so proud of everyone else that we all managed to get a croquembouche together, standing, ready for the judges, and they were really impressed, and it was such a highlight moment for me. And I was the star baker. But today, I'm going to show you how to be a star baker in your house. We are making a mini croquembouche. This is the one to impress all your friends. It's crunchy, it's delicious. Let's get started. So the first thing we're going to make is a crackling. Crackling is like a little disc that sits on top of your profiterole, and then almost as the profiterole rises, it kind of comes around the outside and creates a really nice caramelly, crunchy outside. So we get super crunchy profiteroles inside our croquembouche tower. So to make that, I've got some brown sugar here that we're going to start with. We're using brown sugar because it's like got nice caramelly flavor and it adds a really nice color as well. That's going straight into my stand mixer. And I've got some salted butter here. I like salted butter because it adds a nice salty taste to our crackling. And then I'm just going to put my paddle attachment on and we're going to cream this together. Super, so our butter and sugar are creamed together nicely. You can see it's much lighter in color. And then I'm just gonna add in some plain flour. And then we're gonna mix it together slowly just until all the flour is incorporated. Right, our flour is incorporated. Now I've got 2 sheets of baking paper here and I'm just going to pour my crackling dough straight onto the baking paper. Gotta get this bit too. Super, then I'm just going to use my hands to squish it together into a bit of a circle. Then we're going to add another sheet of baking paper on top. Now we're going to roll it out in between these 2 sheets of baking paper. The reason we do this is number 1, it's really easy to move around and pop in the freezer. And number 2, it means we don't have to add any extra flour. So we're going to roll it out nice and thin. We're looking for about 1 to 2 millimeters thick. But I always find it kind of slides away. So I just put a bit of baking paper off the edge, trap it under my belly, then it can't run away. Perfect, it's looking nice and thin. Doesn't matter what shape it is at this stage because we're going to cut it out into little circles anyway. Now this is going to go onto a tray and we're going to pop this into the freezer until we're ready to use it. So the next thing we need to do is get started on our crème diplomate. A crème diplomate is basically a custard mixed with cream. So a crème pâtissière and then we whip some cream through it just before we pipe it into our choux buns. To get us started, we've got some whole milk in my lovely little cow jug. It's going straight into our pot here. then I've got some vanilla extract here that's going in. It smells so good. Now we're going to put our milk onto a medium to low heat until it's nice and hot, but we don't want it to boil, so keep watching. So custard is made with eggs, but if we added eggs straight into our hot milk, they're just going to scramble straight away. So we put them into a bowl separately while our milk is heating, and we gently add the milk to slowly increase the temperature so it doesn't like shock the eggs and they freak out and scramble. So I'm going to put 1 egg and 1 egg yolk straight into my bowl here. Next, we're going to add in some caster sugar and some corn flour or cornstarch. Didn't want to go in. And we're going to whisk this all together. Use your muscles. This is the best whisk ever. I bought this from a charity shop and it's like super intense. So our eggs really quickly get to nice and pale in color. Now we just wait for our milk to heat up. Our milk is nice and hot. I've just put a tea towel under my bowl because I'm gonna have to do some one-handed whisking here and it just stops it from wiggling around quite as much. So we wanna gently pour our milk into our eggs while we're whisking at the same time. So start with a little bit at once so you don't shock your eggs, and then just whisk really fast until all your milk is incorporated. Once you've got all your milk in, we're going to pour this straight back into the pot. It smells so good. And then we're going to put this onto a medium heat and we're going to keep whisking. Do not stop or you're going to scramble your eggs. So I've had my milky custard on the heat now for about 5 minutes, and you'll notice it's really bubbly and foamy on the top, and our custard is very thin. So we want to keep it on the heat until all those bubbles disappear, all the foaminess, and it's nice and thick and creamy and yellow and delicious custardiness. So you can see it's very close. All of those foamy bubbles have disappeared, and it's really starting to thicken now. And it smells so good. So our custard is lovely and thick and glossy and delicious. I'm just going to tip it straight into a bowl here to let it cool down. Got to get every last little bit because I want my choux buns to be overflowing. And then I've just got a sheet of Glad wrap here that I'm going to put in, and I'm going to push it down onto the surface of the custard because we don't want a film to develop on the top. Perfect. Now I'm going to leave this to cool at room temperature, and then I'm going to put it in the fridge until we're ready to use it. Choux pastry, I think, scares a lot of people, like making profiteroles and eclairs, but actually it's really quite straightforward, and I'm going to show you some super easy tips to make you nail it every time. So to get started, we add some butter into our pot. Then I'm going to add just a teeny bit of sugar, some salt, and some water. Now this is going to go on a nice gentle heat until all the butter is melted. Now that our your butter and water is melted together, we're gonna add in some plain flour and mix it really hard with a wooden spoon. Now we keep mixing this until it starts to get a little bit glossy, and then we're going to put it back on the heat and cook out some of the moisture. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to switch over to a spatula. We're going to take this back on the heat, and we're going to start by pushing the mixture into the bottom. We want to keep it moving, but pushing it down onto the bottom, and it will start to cook out some of that water. Notice as we start to cook out some of the water, your colour will get much more yellow, and we're looking for a film to develop on the bottom. So I've got a little bit of a film starting here, but I'm looking for the whole bottom to be coated. So our choux base is looking good. I've got a film over the whole bottom, so I know it's ready, and I've cooked out lots of that water. Plop. Now I'm just going to use my spatula to spread my dough just around the sides of the bowl. This just helps it cool down a little bit before we add the eggs. In there until we're ready. Now, the eggs. So, the amount of eggs you put into your choux might change each time, and it's very dependent on how much water you cooked out of your choux. So I've got 4 eggs here, and we're gonna add somewhere between 3 and 4 eggs, but we're gonna add it little by little so we can kind of feel what's happening with our choux dough. So I'm gonna crack them all into my jug, whisk them together, and then slowly incorporate them. I'm going to give this a wee little whisk with a fork. Now I've put my eggs into a jug so it's nice and easy to pour in, because we want to add our eggs while it's mixing. So I've got my paddle attachment here, and we're just going to get our choux mixing a little bit before we start adding any egg. Now I'm going to add my eggs a little bit at a time. Remember, you can always add more, but you can't take it out. So after I add a little bit, I'm going to let it fully incorporate before I add any more. If you don't have a stand mixer at home, you can still do the same thing, just beat it really hard with a wooden spoon in a bowl. Now I've got about 1 egg left in here, and I want to test it before I add it all in. So there's 2 things we look for, well 3 really. We want nice glossy dough. So you want to have a nice shine on it. And then if you put in your paddle mixer and pull it up, it should kind of drop in a V. So we are starting to get a nice V here, and it is starting to look nice and glossy. But you see how it's a bit crackly around the edge? So I'm going to add just a little bit more egg here and keep whisking. Wait if I can get it in. Check. It is looking nice and glossy. V-check. Oh yeah, that looks nice. Now, I think if I add any more, it's gonna be a bit too runny, so I think we're gonna stop here. Nice and glossy, nice, oh, didn't get any that time. Nice V shape here. And if you run your finger through it, the walls should stay up, but it should kind of stick to your finger like this as well. So we're looking pretty good. It's time to pipe our choux. This is one of the most fun parts. It's quite tricky, but it's also enjoyable and it's therapeutic and it's fun. So that's why we're here. What I've done first is draw around a 1-inch cookie cutter or mini cookie cutter with a pencil on my baking sheet just to mark out where I'm going to do my choux so they stay the same size. And I'm going to put it pencil side down on my tray. Then I'm going to just use a little bit of extra batter to stick it down to the tray so it doesn't move around while I'm trying to pipe. Now we want to keep our piping bag nice and vertically down, and you kind of want to flick off at the edge. So that takes a little bit of practice getting a good flick, but just keep trying. It's a flick of the wrist. So I've popped it in a piping bag with a little round nozzle on the end. So again, we're going to start vertical, press a bit out, and flick off at the edge. That a perfect amount. Gotta shove it out. Now I've got a couple of little peaks where I didn't quite get my wrist action perfect, so I've just got a tiny cup of water here and I'm just gonna dab my finger in, and just gently pat down any of those little peaks. Perfect, they look so cute. Now's a really good time to turn on your oven, so 200 degrees Celsius, nice and hot, and I'm gonna go get my crackling. Here's my crackling. What's crackling? Now I'm gonna use my same 1-inch cookie cutter to cut out little circles, and I'm gonna gently place them on the top of each of our choux buns. It's gonna be quite hard because it's frozen. So we pop them out, gently place them on top. So cute. I'm so excited about these. Now, if you have any extra crackling left, you could keep it in the fridge or crumble it all up and use it as a crumble topping, even on top of granola. It's so delicious and caramelly and yum. Now, these are gonna go in the oven. So we've got a 200-degree oven going now, and we're gonna put these in for 20 minutes. We don't want to open the oven in that time. Do not do it. It will make them deflate. Basically, we wanna shock them with the heat so they puff up, get nice and puffy, and then we want to dry out the middle. So see you in 20 minutes. Our wee little choux buns have been in the oven for 20 minutes. Now I'm just going to really quickly poke with a knife a little hole in the bottom of each of them. This is going to release some of the air. Then we're going to put these back in the oven for another 5 minutes and then turn off the oven, open the door slightly and leave them in until they're completely cooled down. Cracking they go. Our choux buns have cooled down. They smell and look brilliant. They have a lovely crunchy top from the Crackling, and they are perfectly cooked. You can tell they are hollow, so they're gonna be lovely and crunchy. So we're gonna turn our crème pâtissière into our crème diplomate, which means we're gonna whip some cream and fold through our crème pâtissière, or our custard that we put in the fridge earlier. So I've just got some pouring cream here that's gonna go in my bowl. It's gonna take a little while to come out of my cow, but I just love him or her. Moo! We got there. Thanks, little cow. Now I'm just gonna whisk this by hand just until we get soft peaks. Use your muscles. I already have a dead arm though. I've been going for like 1 minute. My arm is so dead. Do you know when I was on Bake Off, I literally went home with like a broken shoulder and arm from all the whisking. Perfect, so it's just hit soft peaks, so it's not super stiff, it's still a bit silky and smooth, but it's definitely holding some shape. Then I'm just gonna go ahead and add in the custard we made earlier, or our crème pâtissière. And then we're gonna gently fold them together. So we wanna be really gentle at this point because we really don't wanna over whip and split our cream. So it's basically when you whisk it so much it turns to butter. But it's actually really easy to make butter from home. Feels beautiful. Okay, I think she's ready. Just a little taste. So good. It's gonna be so light inside those lovely crunchy choux buns. I'm so excited. Now we already did poke a hole in the bottom, but I'm just gonna go in with my knife just to check the hole is big enough for the nozzle of my piping bag to go in. So just give it a little twist, if you hear that crunch. So it's got a little hole ready to be filled. Now I'm gonna fill them up. So we take our piping nozzle tip, stick him inside, squeeze to fill him. All done, and I'm going to put them down like this for now so I can just scrape all the bottoms. And because they're so hollow, we can actually fit heaps of crème diplomate inside. Now I've just given each of the bottoms just a tiny scrape, just so there's no big overflowing pockets of crème diplomate. Now these are ready to dunk in sugar. We are going to coat all of our choux buns in a lovely glossy crunchy caramel, and we're also going to use it to build our tower, stick it together so it can stand up tall. So to do that, I've got some caster sugar here that's going into a pot. And then just some water. We'll just give it a little shake. And then we're going to put this onto a medium heat, and we are not going to touch it. We're going to leave it bubbling away until it's a nice amber color. So my caramel is a beautiful amber color. It's gonna look so nice on the outside of our croquembouche. Now, quick first aid reminder, we are working with super, super hot sugar here. If this is your first time working with sugar, use some tongs. Then it avoids burning your fingers. If you do burn your fingers, straight under cold water for at least 10 minutes. I promise you need to do that. But let's get started. I've got some sprinkles here that I'm just gonna jazz up a few of them and put them around my croquembouche somehow. Now it's time to build it. So I'm going to start with a layer of 7, then 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on the top. And I'm just building mine on my lovely acrylic reusable cake board, but you could use any kind of cake board. And I've got it on my turntable because this is going to be nice and easy to maneuver. This is the tricky part. That's okay, just stay calm. Just take it one step at a time. We're going to start by dunking each of our choux buns back into some hot caramel, and we're going to stick them up and just slowly build around all the way up. Now when you get to the next layer, you want to try and be like a builder, but putting bricks in and put them in each of the cracks. And if your caramel starts to get a bit hard, just pop it back on the heat to melt it back again. But let's go. I'm putting it off. Let's get started. I like to dunk the bottom and kind of one side, so it sticks to the bottom and then sticks to the one next to it as well. On the top like a beautiful star. Oh gosh, I hope he stays there. But it's not the end yet. We're going to spin some sugar. Now if you've watched the Bake Off episode, you'll have maybe seen my little gadget that I made. This was a whisk where I've cut all the ends off. You could also do this with a fork, but this was my little spinning sugar whisk. So we dunk it in the sugar and we're just going to gently wind it, and it's going to create like cobwebby strands that wrap all around and stick to it. Now this will only work as your sugar has just started to set, so you can kind of lift it up a little bit and see if you start to get cobwebby strands. Otherwise you might need to let it cool slightly. Oh, there we go, we are there. So I'm gonna just start by wrapping it around slowly. It almost catches and keeps going. I'm gonna have some cleaning up to do later. Worth it! This is where your turntable comes in super handy. You can just spin it and cover. I'm gonna put heaps because I love it. Oh my gosh. I'll just finish this one. Look at that. It's like a little Christmas tree. I'm so happy with it. Right, I'm gonna get cleaned up and then we'll try. We get to eat it. We get to eat it. I have been waiting all day for this moment. I'm so excited to eat it. I'm gonna eat this one right here. It almost feels a bit sad breaking it off, but I'm hungry. Oh, you feel that snap? Oh yeah, look at it. Oh my God, the crumb. Yum! That's so delicious and so crunchy. And the creme diplomate is so light on the inside. It's delicious. Oh my God, I'm in heaven. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I can't wait to see all your wonderful photos of your mini croquembouches. I know it seems daunting, but I know you can do it. Have a wonderful week. That's all for me. Peace. Oh, don't forget to come back for the next episode. Bye. Shoo, 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 shoo. It's time to make the shoe.